Jesus died, and 5 things happened after his death. First, there was a great earthquake, a seismic upheaval that resonated with the nature of the crucifixion of the Son of God. Matthew 27:51-52 describes the earth trembling and rocks splitting in response to Jesus' death. This terrestrial reaction suggests a deep connection between the divine events on the cross and creation, highlighting the magnitude of Jesus' work. This biblical description reveals a profound connection between the events at the crucifixion and the world around us. The imagery of the earth trembling and rocks splitting suggests not only a physical event but also powerful symbolism. This phenomenon can be interpreted as the expression of creation itself, responding to the spiritual magnitude of Jesus' death. The language used by Matthew suggests that Jesus' death was not just a historical event, but a cosmic occurrence that reverberated through all dimensions of existence. The splitting rocks and trembling earth are powerful metaphors pointing to a profound and universal transformation unleashed by the Redeemer's death on the cross. Thus, this biblical passage not only recounts a seismic event, but also invites reflection on the interconnection between the divine and the earthly, showing how Jesus' death had a transcendent impact that resonated even in the depths of creation. Second, the tombs were opened, a unique occurrence recorded only by Matthew. The tombs were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised to life. These saints, after their resurrection, appeared in Jerusalem to many people. Matthew 27:52-53. The resurrection of these bodies, occurring concurrently with the earthquake, highlights the supernatural nature of these events and reinforces the victory over death achieved by Jesus' crucifixion. This extraordinary series of events, including the opening of the tombs and the resurrection of the saints, underscores the transcendence and divine power associated with Jesus' crucifixion. The synchrony between the resurrection of the saints and the earthquake creates a striking testimony to the supernatural dimension of these crucial moments. When these resurrected saints appeared in Jerusalem, they visibly demonstrated the triumph over death, serving as living witnesses of the redemption provided by Jesus' crucifixion. Their resurrected bodies not only witnessed the victory over mortality but also highlighted the extraordinary and unique nature of this event. Therefore, the opening of the tombs and the resurrection of the saints, associated with the context of the earthquake, converge to reinforce the central message of Jesus' crucifixion, the definitive conquest over death, and the inauguration of a new hope for those who believe. These extraordinary events echo through the centuries, continuing to inspire faith and reflection on the transcendent meaning of the resurrection. Third, the temple veil was torn at the moment Jesus gave his last breath. As recorded in Matthew 27:50-51, the veil separating the Holy of Holies in the temple was torn from top to bottom. This event symbolizes the removal of the barrier between God and humanity, indicating that through Jesus' work on the cross, everyone has direct access to God. The veil, representing the separation caused by sin, was torn, paving the way for direct communion with the Creator. This tearing of the veil also represents the conclusion of an ancient system of restricted access to God centered on the temple and priestly rituals. The act of tearing the veil from top to bottom symbolizes a divine initiative, emphasizing that it is God who removes the barrier and establishes the possibility of direct communion with Him. The removal of the veil highlights Jesus' redemptive work, which reconciled humanity with God. The veil that previously symbolized separation due to sin is no longer an obstacle. Through Jesus' death and resurrection, the bridge was built, allowing everyone to approach God freely. This event not only reveals divine grace and mercy, but also inaugurates a new era of personal relationship with the Creator. The underlying message is that through faith in Jesus Christ, everyone can enjoy intimate communion with God without the need for intermediaries or elaborate rituals. The torn veil thus symbolizes the opening of a new chapter in the history of the relationship between God and humanity. Fourth, there was darkness over all the land. Matthew 27:45 describes a singular event: darkness covering the land from noon until 3 in the afternoon. This dense darkness, as described in the book of Amos 8.9, is presented as the fulfillment of a divine prophecy. At this critical moment, supernatural darkness manifests, coinciding with the peak of sunlight as the moon was in its full phase. The contemporary astronomical explanation dismisses the possibility of an eclipse, as the full moon cannot come between the Earth and the sun. The rapid divine intervention reveals the limitation of astronomical knowledge at the time. The text also highlights the spiritual aspect of the darkness, indicating that those who demanded celestial signs now witness a sign that paradoxically reveals their own spiritual blindness. The darkness that occurred at such a crucial moment can have various interpretations. Firstly, in antiquity, darkness was often associated with mourning. Furthermore, it was connected to the death of important figures like great leaders. Both Gentile and Jewish readers could perceive this darkness as a cosmic sign accompanying the death of a king. These historical and cultural symbolisms could provide profound meanings for the event. Additionally, the darkness brings to light the resurrection of the saints, as mentioned in Matthew 52:53, when those who died in death were brought to life and appeared in the holy city of Jerusalem. Thus, the darkness, beyond its cosmic impact, acquires deeper meanings related to divine judgment, mourning, and resurrection. It is difficult to imagine how people felt witnessing this event, but I believe many were frightened and terrified to realize the consequences of their actions and understand that Jesus was truly who he claimed to be. The occurrence was a concrete representation of both physical and spiritual darkness that occurs when one does not believe in Christ. Even nature around testified to Christ's divinity and expressed sorrow at what was happening. Fifth, a soldier perceives something extraordinary at the crucifixion scene. Amidst the pain and agony intertwined, a soldier tasked with overseeing the execution noticed something extraordinary: the innocence of the man on the cross. This revelation not only surprised the soldier, but also reverberated among the centurion and his companions, who, witnessing the earthquake and the unfolding events before them, were filled with a mix of fear and reverence. At a crucial moment, they proclaimed with conviction, "Truly this was the Son of God." Matthew 27:54. The centurion, whose responsibility was to ensure that the crucifixion was carried out accurately and without complications, stood out as a career soldier, often leading 100 men during such executions. His rise through the military ranks demanded courage and intelligence, making him a soldier of high order capable of maintaining composure and efficiency in the face of challenges. However, at that moment, when witnessing Jesus' crucifixion, this centurion experienced an emotional turnaround. The scene before his eyes challenged his experience, as he recognized the unique difference in this execution. Jesus, innocent of the crime for which he had been condemned, faced brutality with dignity. Jesus' words during his agony and his merciful response to those who crucified him left an indelible mark on the centurion. Additionally, the centurion was aware of the Jewish religious leaders' opposition to Jesus, but the evidence in favor of Christ was overwhelming. The event was so extraordinary that even this hard-earned Roman soldier could not deny that Jesus was the Son of God, innocent of the accusation that led him to the cross. In contemplating Jesus' response to injustice and torture, the centurion could not help but be impacted. Jesus, who offered forgiveness to those who crucified him, challenged expectations and demonstrated a love that transcended human understanding. The centurion's experience during the crucifixion was not just an isolated event, but a personal journey that led him to recognize Jesus' uniqueness, the transformative power of the cross, and the love displayed there. It reached even the hardened heart of an experienced soldier. Now I would like to invite you to comment on which of these events surprised and impacted you the most. If you love learning more about the scriptures, click the subscribe button. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next videos. God bless you.